Alright, so hello again. So, I hadn't really planned on doing any recording today, but I figured I'm going to be making something a little bit different than what I usually make. So I figured I might as well, while I have the opportunity, I might as well try and record it, I guess. So I'm going to be making because I have some sweetened condensed milk. I'm going to be making a tart. In this case, a lemon tart, lemon flavored tart or whatever. So I'm just gonna make, using this 9-inch tart pan, I'm going to, with a removable bottom, I'm going to first make a graham cracker crust, spread it around here as best I can, and then after that I'm going to make the filling while that's pre-baking, pre-baking in the oven. Then I'm going to make the filling while I'm doing that. And yeah. So this isn't a particularly difficult thing to make as long as you have the stuff. Oh yeah, on this tart pan I greased it with this stuff called, that they call cake goop, or like quick release or whatever, DIY quick release, which is basically just a almost equal parts flour, Crisco, which is just vegetable shortening, and oil, vegetable oil. So vegetable oil, Crisco or vegetable shortening, and flour. Mix that together, and then that makes this solution that is very easy to spread with something like this, this thing here, like a brush. And it is very effective at keeping stuff from sticking onto surfaces. It's not fun when you get it on your hands, though, or whatever. It's very slippery and kind of difficult to wash off a little bit, but it does work for that purpose. So first, I'm going to be making the graham cracker crust, and then forming that. So I have to measure out in a bowl, which I think this one should be fine. I think this one should be just about the right size. It's not like the thing with these tarts is that they're very thin, so it's extremely, if you're not using like an exact recipe or whatever, if you're not being careful, it is very easy to overflow with the filling, to overflow through the crust. So you kind of have to be pretty careful. You don't want like way too much liquids and stuff, because it is almost definitely going to overflow, which I've done before, and it sucks. It really sucks when it does that. Graham cracker crumbs, butter, sugar. So I need sugar. I have the melted butter and the graham cracker crumbs. Ooh, sugar. I'll put the sugar on last. I'll use this fork. That fork I got there. Graham crackers. I got a pretty good amount. I bought more because I knew I was going to make some of this sort of soon. How much do I need? I don't think I need that much. Well, this recipe does call for almonds. So what I'm going to do is instead, I'm going to add maybe 30 grams. So let's say 50. So I'm going to say two 20 grams graham cracker crust, because I'm going to be doing one whole stick of butter instead of 5 tablespoons. So I'll say 220, and then maybe 50 grams of sugar. So 50 grams of sugar, 220 or 230 of graham cracker crumbs. Okay, so wasn't one of these open? Oh, I guess not. Yeah, guess not. That's fine. Need scissors to cut the bag. Yeah, I find it's funny. I didn't do the exact math, but just buying these graham cracker crumbs already like crushed like this seems to be cheaper. Not by a significant amount than doing it yourself with the stupid graham crackers, like using a food processor. Then again, you can't control what consistency, I guess, when you have a pre-crumbled like this, but it doesn't really matter in this case. But I will say, if you can find these, I prefer doing this over shredding the bullshit yourself. I feel like it just works better this way, and it's apparently cheaper. From the little math I did, it's cheaper to use these instead. So, yeah. Yeah, about 230. Yep, 230 on the nose. 30 right on the dot. There's actually most of a thing of this, so I don't know. I might, this might be too much, but we'll see. We will just see. Goodness knows that I've sort of fucked up a few tarts like this before. Now, 50 grams sugar. Whoa, that's okay. Shit. That went faster than I thought, but oh well, that's alright. Fuck it. 80 grams of sugar then, okay. Fuck it. Might be a little sandy, but that's okay, I guess. Could be worse. Could be worse. Then the butter. Well, first I'll mix this up, and I'll add some salt, because I think these kind of crusts taste a fair amount better with a little bit of salt. Maybe even a bit more. That should be plenty. A little bit of salt in them. Just mix this up a little bit. Try and get that sugar and salt and everything mixed in with the bread, or the graham cracker crumbs. But yeah, usually with these kind of tart recipes, the most of the volume comes from the actual crust rather than the filling, because the crust, yeah, basically the crust just takes up most of the volume compared to the filling. So you do want to make the crust kind of a big emphasis on the flavor, since it's going to be such a large proportion of what you were eating. Like with a cheesecake, the crust is, well, like a Brooklyn style cheesecake or whatever that has the crust on the bottom, crust layer on the bottom, usually graham cracker kind of thing. Proportionally, there's much more filling in that ratio-wise than there is crust, whereas with the with a tart, it is the other way around. It's not like as crazy as a difference, but it's like closer to like 60, maybe even 70%. It's probably more like 60% crust, 40% filling kind of thing ratio. Whereas with like a cheesecake, Brooklyn style cheesecake, it's like 30% crust, if not less, 70% filling kind of thing. So yeah, you want to make the crust part kind of a large aspect of the flavor there. So the butter, of course, now I'm gonna feel like fucking coughing all of a sudden. So start recording, of course. Oh well. Yeah, this is probably gonna be a little bit sandy, but that's all right. As long as I could spread it and it's somewhat cohesive on the pan. That's good enough. If you were good at, which I wasn't, but if you're good at making sand castles and stuff on the beach when you were a kid or whatever, this is the kind of stuff that you probably enjoy doing, is these kind of crusts. Because once you get the butter in there, it pretty much becomes that sort of consistency. It's probably not a good idea, but I might even add like a splash of water in here just to make it less sandy, because it might work. But yeah, that was definitely a bit too much dry. It might work. It might work. I'll say I always like the smell of a graham cracker crust when you're just putting it together. Just the combination of the graham cracker and the butter. It's very, very pleasant smell. Very enticing smell or whatever. Yeah, this is coming together all right. Gonna be some dry parts, I think, but that's okay. Whatever you want to say, sandy, crumbly parts. Yeah, but this is alright. This is alright, I think. I suppose I could put the oven on right now because I do have to pre-bake the crust. I forget how I haven't talked on camera in a while. I don't know, my throat is just not wanting to not be congested, but yeah, I'll put the oven on, I guess. Preheat 325. Yeah. I don't think it needs, the crust needs to be like fucking hot as shit before putting the filling in. I don't think it really matters. Guess I'll just do this. Just add it in and then gradually press it in afterwards. I'm going to try and not put in the crumbly parts, or the overly sandy parts. Right. Yeah, because it is definitely possible that I made too much crust. Which, that's fine if that was the case. It's not the end of the world or anything like that. Try and even it out a bit. try your best to even it out. It's not always the easiest thing to get perfect. I know I'm certainly not the best at getting an even layer that is uniform on all parts of the pan or whatever. I just kind of go by feel as best as I can muster. And the reason I have it on this other pan here, this baking sheet, is because what I found is that when you have when you bake in these tart pans that have the removable bottom, which I believe most of them do, probably not all of them, but most of them do, is the removable bottom part, it is not very well sealed. It's not very well sealed, or whatever. Like it's pretty much just free floating, so it's pretty much not sealed at all. So if any kind of liquidy stuff starts to melt or like come through or whatever, it's gonna leak everywhere through the bottom of the it's gonna leak everywhere through the bottom. So that'll make a giant mess in the oven, and I don't think most people want to do that or deal with that. So yeah, so whenever I'm baking with these tart pans with the removable bottom, just put a pan under it. It significantly makes it less of a pain in the ass, because then you just have to clean whatever gets into the pan afterwards, rather than whatever gets fucking into the starts spilling into the oven and on the grates of the oven and all that, the grates of the oven and all that bullshit. It's just not fucking fun. It is not fun to do. So that's my pro tip with tart pans. Don't don't bake them straight in the oven. Have some kind of catch pan to put it in. This part is always the hardest for me, is spreading it on the sides. But I guess this works. Kind of press it in. Press it in as evenly as you can. If you need more crumbs, just put some more. And it's nice with the pan as well, having a pan under this, is that any crumbs that inevitably come out while you're doing this, you can just catch, or it'll catch in the pan instead of wherever, on the floor, the counter. Because either way, this tart pan is going to be fucking obnoxious to clean later when you're done, because of the shape it is. It's you got so many little crevices and nooks and crannies to clean off. It's one of those things where it's significantly easier to just soak in like something, soak in a soapy solution for a while, and that should hopefully deal with most of the oily feeling or whatever from the grease that you use, the non-stick solution or whatever, to keep the stuff from sticking to the pan, as well as get anything that did stick, make it easier to wipe off or whatever with a sponge or something. Preferably a sponge. I don't know if this tart pan, I think almost all of them, especially the cheaper ones, ironically, have the fucking non-stick, supposedly non-stick thing. This doesn't feel very non-stick, but it has some coating, because it definitely Definitely gets scratched if you cut at it with like a knife or something. Definitely gets like little gashes in it and shit, so yeah. If it is non-stick, it's not very good at its job, but it's non-stick enough that it would potentially flake off if you cut at it. So yeah, this is probably not something you want to put in the dishwasher. And this is what I said, man. The sides are so fucking annoying. Or I'm just so bad at doing the sides, I don't know. I guess I was closer than I imagined for the amount of the crumbs that I would need. It's probably not going to be a very nice looking crust in the end, but it's kind of difficult to do that with the graham cracker consistency. This might come out alright. Might come out pretty good. Just press it down nice so it has something to stick together with. And is less likely to fall apart. Alright. Get this sandy shit off my hands. Best I can. Obviously all buttery, so also greasy feeling. But those remaining graham crackers I'll probably use for something. I'm baking something else with the egg whites after this, which I probably won't record. Probably won't have enough time to record for the battery and everything anyway, so. Yeah. Buttery. Paper towels, fuck it. Should get most of that buttery, greasy sensation away. Yeah, I'm very, as anybody probably knows, I'm pretty OCD when it comes to, like, I don't like my hands to be oily when I'm working with other shit, because then that just makes other stuff start to get oily and greasy feeling, and then it's like, then you're fucking stuck cleaning shit that somebody else grabs later or some shit, and then that's oily. It's fucking annoying. So I'm pretty OCD with getting that kind of sensation away as quickly as I can. But yeah, the oven is preheated. What is it? Press the mixture on the bottom and sides of the greased pan. Bake until the edge is lightly brown, about 15 to 18 minutes. Let cool slightly. 15 to 18 minutes. So, I'll just do an even. One thing that's annoying about these pans, but maybe it won't deform because there's a decent amount of weight on it. Those ones like to kind of deform in the oven when they get hot, but it should be alright. Alright, that's baking. Now to make the rest of the mixture. I'm gonna make the rest of the mixture, which this one is actually supposed to be a lime tart recipe, but I mean, same shit. Lemon lime. I mean, it's not the same shit, but practically it's the same shit. So, all right, let me actually read what I need first. I know I need to separate yolks from the whites in 4 eggs. I know I need to do that. which together egg yolks, condensed milk, lime juice, and lime zest. What am I hearing? Hearing like a noise, but it's not the dishwasher. Something else. Oh well. So I know I need to zest whatever lemon I'm using. Probably only going to need 1/2 of the lemon instead of the entire one, because I know last time I did the entire lemon, it was way too much liquid. And it started spilling, and then it made a disaster. And that wasn't fun, so. Alright, 4 egg yolks, sweetened condensed milk, lime juice, supposedly 1/2 cup lime juice, and 2 teaspoons zest. Alright, so I need to... I guess I could, yeah, I'll do the eggs first. Separate the eggs first. I'm gonna do my little method here that I like to do, which is like, well, actually it doesn't really matter in this case, because in the other recipe, it doesn't really matter that much, because I don't need to beat the egg whites like any crazy amount or any bullshit like that, so it doesn't really matter. But either way, I should have the method that I use, which is a buffer bowl. I make this one my buffer bowl because it's bigger. Yolk, whites. Maybe I'll even do whites in that. Yolk in this. And I have a bigger bowl for something else if I need it. Yeah, I think I do that. So, whites, buffer, yolk. Whites, buffer, yolk. Oh, you know what? That's what I'll do. Now is this big enough? Is this big enough? For sweetened condensed milk and to be able to mix it at the same time? Well, bigger bowl is in the washer. I don't want to use those metal bowls. I also don't want to use the giant bowl. I guess I'll use the big bowl for it. Should be alright. I'll just put the yolk in this one right from the get-go. I'll use this as the buffer. Buffer? Oh wait, no. This would be for the whites. This will be the buffer, and then I don't need this. There we go. That's how I'll do it. Okay. Oh. This way. Yeah. Okay. For whites, that. And I need 4 eggs. Got 5 room temperature eggs right here. And I guess let us begin. So first, this is how I do it at least. Oh, let's bring a sponge. In case of a massive mess. I crack the egg into this buffer area. Then I use my hands to separate the white from the yolk. And even just a little bit of white is kind of alright. It's not the same with then you dump the white into here, and then you continue. But the idea with this is, if you have a recipe or some kind of reason that you really don't want the whites to mix with the yolk at all, then this is why you do this. And the reasons that you wouldn't want the yolk and the whites to mix at all is because the way that the yolk works is that it's like a fat, and the whites are like all protein pretty much. And if you need to do something like make if you're trying to do something like make meringue or something like that, or some kind of like egg whites specific thing, you usually need to beat with a mixer. You usually need to beat with a mixer the egg whites into a need to beat the egg whites into a stiff, well, it depends. Sometimes either soft or stiff peaks, as they call them. But basically you are beating air very quickly into the egg whites, egg white proteins, and the way that the egg whites work, you know, because of how fucking magical just eggs are for no real reason. They just are. But unless you have like a perfect, you know, I don't know how they define a perfectly clean bowl or whatever to mix the whites in that you're beating, then the process of beating the egg proteins or whatever and filling them with air, like, gets messed up. Gets messed up if there's like anything like oily on the sides of the bowl or whatever, like somehow that prevents the air from being properly like beaten into the egg white proteins or something and being able to form those peaks. So basically you don't want to have any kind of contamination between the egg yolk and the egg whites in those cases. But besides for how much you actually need, like volume wise, of it doesn't really matter if you say a recipe just calls for like 4 egg yolks or whatever. It really usually doesn't matter if you get a little bit of egg whites in with that. Like, it's kind of impossible not to get a little bit, but it does matter for the whites, as I mentioned, for those reasons or whatever, because the process gets screwed up if the fatty yolk interior contaminates the whites, and you won't be able to like properly beat air into the egg proteins or whatever. That's the supposed reason for it. All right. So How much is this in, supposedly? $3.96. So I could just beat these all together. So I'll break the yolks real quick. And just mix them a little bit. Mix them a little bit. Mix them up just a tad. I'm not going to put this in yet. I'm also going to use a small spatula. Silicone spatula to get, because I'm going to use the pull tab, which I might as well. And then I'll zest this lemon into here, and then I'll juice the lemon and see how much it gives me. And it should hopefully be enough. It's kind of definitely better to have too little liquid, I found, than too much, because as I said, too much and you make a humongous mess, and for the filling or whatever, and it just doesn't work out well. Alright, so zesting lemon. I read somewhere that people that zest lemons or zest like citrus fruits and shit like this for like bulk kitchen stuff, something about going from top to bottom, like one pass, and then it keeps you from getting too much of the white pith part, which is like bitter. So I'm gonna try and do that, even though it's difficult, but it can be difficult. Just want to try not to get too much white in there, because that's the supposedly bitter part. I've never really had an issue with like bitterness when I zest, because I just don't have a problem with like a little bit of bitterness. But I'll try and do it the more quote-unquote proper way. Supposedly I am enjoying this smell that is coming from the zesting process. So yeah, I'll just do that. I'll do like top to bottom one pass around the lemon, and then I'll try to get the stuff that is left, the top, one pass, but no more. It looks pretty. I mean, it's a little bit of white, so obviously I got a little bit of pith in there, but I think that's a-okay. I ain't no perfectionist here with that kind of shit. Now, I don't know if that's enough for what the recipe is calling for, some shit, but I think that's good enough, because I don't believe... I don't know, honestly, because it didn't really say. This half a cup is quite a bit, actually, so might even need 2 lemons. I don't know. I don't know exactly. Just juice them and see what we get. I do love lemons. I think lemons are my favorite citrus fruit. But I like pretty much all citrus fruits: oranges, lemons, limes, grapefruits, pretty much like all of them. I remember I had an issue when I was doing this, that I had way too much fucking liquid, and it just became like fucked up, and it overfilled the oh shit, need to make sure to take that thing out. I think I'll need at least one more lemon. And hopefully that won't be too much. I don't know. I don't know what the hell I did that one time where it was like way too goddamn much liquid. Ooh. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Alright, I'll turn the oven off. Just put it back on. Light. That's sit here. Really don't want it to have it cool like that much, so honestly I'll just put it on the oven. I don't know. Keep from getting too cold. Alright, so I'm definitely gonna need at least one more lemon. I don't think I'm gonna even risk putting more than that, in all honesty. Use this one. Because, yeah, like I said, it was way too liquidy one time, and that was not fun. I don't know why it came out like that one time. I was very confused. I forget what I did. Oh, maybe I made like an orange one. I think that was the reason. I think that I'm trying to remember back. I think that was the reason. We had a bunch of oranges. Yep, that was it. That was it. Because an orange has significantly more juice in each one than a lemon. So I tried to use like one orange or two oranges or some shit, and it was just way too much. And I was like, it'll be all right. And it was not all right. It was quite fucked. But I think 2 fairly average-sized lemons here should be enough. Should be. But we'll just see. Definitely enough zest, I think. I think we're good enough on the zest there. Yeah, sure. Right, I'll squeeze the lemon. But it's one of those things is that even if it's not, just not slightly not enough liquid, that's a little bit better than too much liquid, because you could always add a little bit more liquid if you need it. You can't take it out after. You can't take it out after if you put too much. I think this should be enough. I think it should be fine. And try to get this pulp to extract more liquid. I prefer not to put the pulp straight in there, because it kind of gives it a weird texture, sort of. Yeah, it's not definitely not a half a cup, but it's close. It is close. Dump this real quick. Trash. Yeah. spray me with water everywhere. Thanks. Try to clean the lemon juice off with the plastic stuff quickly because it, yeah, the lemon juice, I guess it depends on the plastic and everything, but it eats through. It eats through stuff like plastic pretty quickly if you don't get it off. And I'll rinse this off. Put these through. I won't get every little piece off right this second, but I'll rinse it off a bit. Should be alright though. Same with the knife. Alright. Now to add the sweetened condensed milk. You know what? I'll even put the oven back on. I think it's supposed to still be 325. Let me just double check. Looks like it. 325. In a large bowl, whisk together egg yolks, condensed milk, lime juice, and zest. Pour the mixture over the crust. Okay, so that's it. Just the sweetened condensed. And that's all. And this shit is fucking thick. Condensed is an understatement. It's thick and sticky. Thick and sticky. But at least it's courteous enough to flow a little bit. To flow at least somewhat. Like certain other liquidy substances. I'm not going to go absolutely crazy here trying to get every bit of it, but I'll try and get the most I can out of this, because there is still quite a bit that gets stuck in there. I think that's a reasonable amount that I extracted. Yeah, that's good enough. Good enough for me. And now, continue to mix it together until it is incorporated, and then I'll pour this over the crust. Try and spread it out as best I can and throw it in the oven for like 15 minutes or something. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't add more liquid, because even this is like just slightly on that kind of verge of too liquidy almost, in my opinion. Definitely not nearly as bad as the one time I did with the fucking oranges. I was like, what the fuck? It was fucked up. It was fucked up. Yeah, it's still, and it's funny too, is that even though it was all fucked up, and it stuck horribly to the goddamn pan and everything, and it took forever to clean, to get that off and everything, it still tasted pretty decent. At least, at the very least, the crust part and everything. So it was still edible. It was just extremely ugly and quite the big mess to clean up after the fact. I think this is pretty much mixed enough. Mixed as good as it's reasonably gonna get. Alright, so put this somewhere. This here. Or something. Doesn't really matter. Fuck it. And then pour this onto that. It's looking promising so far. It is looking promising. Yep, that's about as good as that's gonna get. Within reason. Oh, whoops. Need to spread it out still. But it already mostly spread itself, which is good. It's pretty much perfect consistency, I think. First time I did it, I think I didn't add enough liquid, and it was didn't flow nearly as well as this. So I think this is probably actually going to be my best attempt thus far at a citrus flavored tart thing like this. And it looks like no overflow or overspillage or anything, so looking good. Looking good. Now, normally, the recipe would also say, oh yeah, put a meringue topping over it. Like a whipped cream meringue topping. I don't want to do that. I think it's a pain in the ass, so I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going to use those egg whites for something else. I think that's pretty good within reason. Spread there. Now to throw this in the oven for what? Do 13 minutes, I guess. 13 minutes. And alright, so while that's cooking, I'm going to do some cleanup of this stuff. So I'm going to stop recording and then I'll start it up after I take it out, I guess. So, be back. Alright, so I cleaned up, or at least I washed off, still drying, pretty much all the stuff that I used before. And there's 1 minute left on the oven timer, or less than that. So I think might even do another minute. It still looks like it could use another. Oops. Yeah, I'll just leave it. Leave it there. Leave it there. Dishwasher is finished. I'll leave it in there for, yeah, like another minute or two. Now tarts are nice. Tarts are nice. They have a good flavor profile, I guess. But yeah, they, like, in terms of how much you actually get in terms of like weight or volume, or like how much, like, the taste is good. It's just, it's not like something that's sustaining, even though desserts are never really meant to be like that. But I think you get what I mean. Like, there isn't that much in the end in terms of, like, if you weigh a tart, it is going to weigh much less than, say, like a cake or something like that, which can be a good thing, or, you know, depending on the kind of person. I guess for probably most people it would be a good thing, I guess, if they don't want to eat too many sweets or some shit. But yeah, I like tarts. They're not like my favorite thing in the world. They're kind of like a mini cheesecake sort of thing. They're like, they're in a way, they're like a mini cheesecake. They have much less filling, but they have a fair amount more crust. They don't take nearly as long overall in terms of like cook time and everything. Yeah, tarts are alright. Once again, they're not my favorite baked thing or whatever to make, but they're good. I'm gonna give that like another minute, even though I think it's probably good. And I'll just turn the oven off. But so far, this is definitely looking like probably my best tart that I've made, which I haven't, to be fair, I haven't made very many, like maybe 3 other times at most. And I think an orange tart will work fine too. It's just, make sure you do not go overboard with that liquid, because like, if you only have to squeeze half the orange or some shit, or just part of it, do not just say fuck it and just put the whole thing in there, because you're gonna be left with a watery mess. Unlike this, which is looking basically perfect. Yeah, that's definitely solidified enough. And yeah, these 2 pans that I got deformed, but then they quickly, as they're cooling, they pretty quickly, yeah, deform back to their original shape, flat shape. Alright, so the instructions, what do they say? I know. Yeah. Oh, man. I was about to sneeze, but then it went away. Center is almost set. Cool the tart on wire rack, then refrigerate for at least 2 hours. Yeah, I'm not doing that shit. So yeah, basically similar, almost exactly the same way to a cheesecake. Cool it. Cool it after you've cooked it. Let it cool completely or whatever. And after it's done that, put it in the refrigerator for about, I just put it in there for probably like 4 hours. I don't know. You really don't need that long, but like 2, 3, 4 hours, then it's definitely good by then. Then you can take it out of the the tart pan, lift it out, and put it somewhere else that you want to store it in or whatever, like one of those circular things that I have. And then you just have to deal with cleaning up whatever was dripped in this pan, as well as the tart pan itself, which is the most obnoxious part to clean, but could be worse. But from what I'm seeing here, it looks like it came out very well. But I think that was the main thing that I want to record it. It's about that time almost that my mom will be coming home, so I think it's perfect time to end this recording. But thanks for listening. Hope you found it somewhat interesting or enjoyable, informative, whatever. But yeah, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, which I don't know what I'll be making, but we'll see. Take care.